Welcome to Dante's Harmony podcast, your ultimate source for music, mentoring, and motivation. Join me, Dante Harmon, as I host a one-of-a-kind podcast that showcases the incredible world of sacred steel music. With in-depth interviews, exclusive music, and untold history, this podcast is a must-listen for anyone passionate about music. So tune in, subscribe, and let's harmonize the world of music together. Welcome everyone to another episode of Dante's Harmony, the place where music meets its roots and stories weave into the melodies of life itself. I'm your host, Dante, and today's show is not just any episode. It's a journey back to where it all began, a celebration of friendship, if you will, history, and the incredible art of sacred steel music. So as we step into Black History Month in 2024, we honor not just the heroes who paved the way, but also the vibrant culture and music that has been our guiding lights. And speaking of light, today we're going back, and I have with me a beacon of sacred steel light, Grammy-nominated virtuoso who has taken the tradition to dazzling new heights. My childhood friend, the phenomenal Robert Randolph. Yes, folks, Robert and I go way back. We share roots deeper than music itself. Groomed from the same church organization where the sound of sacred steel was our Sunday morning anthem. Our families have known each other for generations, and it's this bond that we share this heritage and that brings the extra layer of magic to today's conversation. This episode, which was actually dated May of 2020, marks a milestone for Dante's Harmony. And why is that? It was my very first interview, uncut and unedited. We were on Facebook Live, just two good friends sitting down, sharing history, life lessons, and paying homage to the late, great Derrick Campbell. Derrick's spirit and his artistry left an indelible mark on all of us. And today, we remember him with every note that we play and every story that we share. So as Robert and I dive into the tales of our childhood and the evolution of sacred steel music and the moments that have shaped us, I invite you to sit back, relax, and let the harmony of our stories enrich your soul.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, you was saying some good stuff earlier, man, about Derrick earlier, man.
Yeah, man. Listen, we lost a gem, man, for real.
Yeah, man.
We lost a gem. So that, I was sharing that story, man. So, like, I really want these young cats to understand, like, we really paid our dues.
Yeah, man. People don't know, man.
We really paid. I think you and I were probably, and a couple other musicians, we were around the old heads.
All the time, bro. That's all we did. People don't know, man. That was the way to be around just the only way to learn, man. The only way to learn is you had to hang around the old people, sit down, shut up, and watch and listen.
And listen, right. And be
sit down and shut up sometimes. And be told what you do, bro. And
even when you didn't like it, man. Yeah. I remember as a drummer, being up there in Nashville, sitting under Henry.
Yeah, man.
Man, on a Friday night in Nashville.
Yeah.
Dude,
listen,
that was so much pressure, man.
Man, some people don't know, man. Like Henry. First of all, you couldn't play with Chuck and them unless they came to your state, because actually, what people don't know, Derrick was a bad drummer, man. So they had Derrick, man, long before Carlton, long before what's my man name? Mac, long before Mac, all them cats, man. Derrick was getting down, man. Derrick was the drummer. and we all had to learn on the drums, you know.
Yeah, we did.
You learn to stay first. That's where you first learn of what and what not to do, how to stay in the pocket in order for the jam to work. You know,
Come on.
in order for any song, any hymn, any jam, you had to learn. You had to get yelled at constantly, because the drums you get looked back on. You know, they don't. You know, the drums usually sitting behind, so they get the look. They got to turn around, and you know that's like the whole.
When you get the look, it's over.
The whole church go like, uh-oh. You know?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I remember getting those looks, and they haven't turned around, speed it up, slow it down.
Yeah.
Do this, do that.
And you had to watch.
If you didn't do it, what they do, Rob?
They the universal.
I got this.
One thing that's universal in the church, man, is the tap on the shoulder. See, you know,
Man.
that's in Kojic, Baptist, House of God, Jewel, wherever you at, AME, you know, the universal language growing up for the last 100 years, 120 years, if you was in church,
Is a tap on the shoulder.
is a tap on the shoulder. You automatically know what that means.
Tap
You
on the
ain't got
shoulder.
and what make it worse is if you don't get up, you might look at somebody, then they're gonna be like, got to go.
Right. You
You know?
be majorly embarrassed.
Ain't nothing your parents could do.
No.
Ain't nothing the pastor could do. When you off, you gone, brother.
You gone.
That's it.
Pray about
You got to go.
But you still gonna be
Got-
gone.
You got it. You gone, brother. You off the kit. You've
gotta
been
go.
you've been made an example of, you know. But it's really all with love, man. Because don't forget, man. You know, growing up in church, you know, there was no, music class and no music school and all of that. That was school, man.
Right.
That was
a hard knock. That was
that's the hard knocks, man. That's the only way you had to learn, man. You know, there was no other way.
That's right. And you know what? I'm grateful for that, because it taught us. It gave us a discipline that I don't see today.
Yeah.
It gave us a discipline that I don't really get when I show up at some of these services. Like where's the discipline?
Yeah.
Where's the where is that? And yes, it's almost a lost art, but I'm grateful that we came up in that realm of hard knocks. I mean, we got it straight. And the different thing too was how we received it differently from everybody. Everybody had a different style of playing.
Hey, spend the summer, man. We got we go down there, man. It's like 12 drummers waiting in line, man.
Yep.
Me, you, Shane, Ivan, Patrick and Artie.
And Artie, yes.
Shane. Who else you play drum? Benji. Benji, like, gee, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was a long waiting around, bro.
Yeah. It was.
We had to do a lot of that.
It was so much fun.
I think you paused. But go ahead, you bet.
Yeah, it was so much fun, man. It was just amazing. Like it was like the seat you wanted.
Yeah.
It was the seat you wanted. And like I remember Derrick like being that drummer, like that changed the game in the sense of, Mac and some of the older guys, they were more, just straight, pocket, they were pocket drummers, but they didn't color outside the lines.
Nah. Nah, and that's the thing. Like, imagine like you were saying, like, we used to like Mac and all those dudes, man. They wasn't the most fanciest dudes, but they knew the pocket. Mac was learned the pocket of Calvin, Ted, Chuck and them, Glenn, Henry Nelson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just a simple dude like that. So we had to, and all of us being young, because Mac ain't doing no triplets, he ain't doing no double footing.
Right.
And we all sitting around like, man, what is this dude doing, man? You know, this is, in your brain, in your young brain, you thinking like, man, this is kind of corny, man. Watching this dude. Why?
Boring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why can't I play? But then as you watch it and you learn and you get more, you're like, man, he just hitting the pocket, man.
That's it. And and that was what we were taught we as we progressed and we understood and realized that they were just really setting the foundation for us. Yeah, we took it and we ran with it, but we never really ran from the foundation of what we were taught. So yeah.
Well, I mean, bottom line is, right, when you get into a lot of different, no matter what style of music you're playing, you got to be in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And like, you got to understand the music, as they would say, the music starts with the drums. Right. You know what I'm saying? The heartbeat. If the drums is all over the place, the music is going to be all over the place. Yep. Right? So it's, no matter what tempo, how many beats per minute, and how many triplets and quadruplets you doing, like, it's got to be there.
It's got to be.
You know what I'm saying?
It's got to be pocket.
The drums, the bass, the guitar, and in our church, it's really the steel and the rhythm section. Right. But as we grew up watching guys, like I tell people all the time, man, I grew up watching the Campbells and Glenn Lee, right? Henry Nelson, and I saw them play more than anybody. Ted Calvin was more Detroit, right? So. But watching Henry, right? So just something as simple as, right, watching Henry Nelson show up with his wife on the keyboard and his daughter or his son and that was his crew, right? Yep. And you knew there was never going to be no off music. You know what I'm saying? It was never going to be off.
Ever.
Never. Right? And you might Henry Nelson might show up to your stage and you be like, hey man, I want to play the bass, and Henry Nelson look at you like, no, young fella, that's okay. My wife gonna run the bass. She gonna run the bass on the keyboard. Right. And that's what happened. Hey, and look, and you be sitting over there mad because you're young, and then all of a sudden the whole church shouting, you be like, gee, I guess this is what it is, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those are the days, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Watching those guys and watching the rhythm sections, man. People don't understand what rhythm really was. I mean, listen, and this is not just in our church. This is really sort of all over music in general. Music in general has lost rhythm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. It has.
Kind of because sometimes, you get newer technology, and sometimes people got to learn to catch up with newer technology. Right.
Right.
So, what new technology has allowed us to do is just, riff. Mm-hmm. Make our own tracks, make our own music. But at the end of the day, you got to sit down with a band and a group and come up with some good music. We can sit all day and get on our computers and do and do a track and do all that. That's fine. Right. But what's going to happen? You essentially got to play with the band. Right. So what does the band mean? The band is the bass player, the drummer, the guitar player, the steel and the organ, in whatever order. Right. Right. So if I go, so check this out. If I go to Kojic, I don't play the same role in Kojic as I played in the House of God.
In the House of God, it just won't
what I'm saying? Yeah. And I remember growing up, me and Dow Brundage used to do that. If you go play in Dow Brundage setting, right, Dow Brundage, you following Dow Brundage. But when Dow Brundage know he coming back to the sort of House of God, keep the means, so Dow Brundage fall in line and he's still getting down. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So everybody's still getting down. Getting down is like in the pocket, right?
And you know what? You say that there's so many musicians we can talk about, and you brought up another great one, Daryl Brundage, and I remember David Brundage and the Consolators. Man, I used to watch them. I remember watching them at the old church, and literally it was just those two. People don't realize that Daryl used to play the guitar. And was straight mean.
Oh, he was killing. Oh,
like he was using a whammy back then in the 80s. Man. Yeah. When him and David hooked up, it was over. It was a wrap. And it was just those two.
Yeah, man. And that's really what it is. It's just really about everybody playing together. If you a band, it's called the band. The band. Exactly. Most guys today, just show up to church and they everybody got their own directive, their own sort of thing that they want to do, their own agenda. And the agenda has to be like, listen, we're the band of the church service, or we're the band of whatever, the blues club, or whatever we're at. We're the band. Yes. What is our role?
Yes.
Who's rhythm, who's bass? Like me and Chuck was talking about this not too long ago. It's like, me and Chuck could play together. Chuck and Derrick played together all the time. Me and Calvin could play together. Probably me and you or Glenn Lee, whoever. Like, there's tape of me and Glenn Lee playing together. We know, right, who's playing rhythm. Both of us can't play lead at the same time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you just can't go like, okay. Go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right. No, it's the discipline. It's the understanding the roles. You understood what we all understood what we were gonna do, so it was easy to assess the roles. So once we locked up and locked in, it was like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Boom, here we go.
There we go. And listen, and what they don't understand is you supposed to you talk it out during each segment, each song, each whatever. Each song, each solo. Somebody may sing a choir song. It's okay. You go like, okay, Dal Brundage. Okay, Glenn Lee. Okay, Glenn Lee on the keyboard. Okay, you take it over now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, like if you got Phil on the guitar or Dave Watson or some of these other guys, you go, okay, man, you go ahead and take the lead. I'm gonna back you up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you just can't. It's a collective thing. You just can't be. You just can't go, hey man, me.
Come on.
It don't go like that. Go ahead.
It doesn't. You're right. No. You're absolutely right.
And for me, being one of the things, I remember, we were young, and the first time we really saw two steel players playing together was Derrick and Chucky, really kind of, on a service. You know what I'm saying? And you show up and you thinking like, well, all right, well, what these jokers going to do, man? What kind of mess they doing today? Right? And then all of a sudden you just sitting back, you kind of with your mouth wide open, like, wow, this actually works. You know what I'm saying?
They played together.
They brothers. They played together. They've been yelled at many times. They have the ultimate of discipline of playing in church, right? Yes. They know every chord change of every song. And they also know when you show up to the church service, it's like you go like, hey, it's two steel players and a guitar player and Carlton on the drums and maybe Lonnie Bennett, right, on keyboard, right? Right. Them cats already know what they're gonna do. They know who. You know what I'm saying? This is not show up and just, let's just hurry up and make a meatball out of whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Bishop Campbell was great at telling those guys, okay, hey, here's the program. See, people don't understand that. You got to be prepared, man.
Right. That's right. You don't just show up and do it.
Nah, this is not show up and do it. All of that mentality has to go far and just away and you know what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, we get it. Sometimes you be put in a situation, but, look, when you show up, right, you plan a program. All right, well, who's playing? It's one thing to be like, well, I don't know who's going to show up. But when like, okay, me, Dante, Ivan and so on and Benji or whoever, right? Okay, hey, man, especially now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially now. Yeah. I mean, we get it. Years ago, right? You would show up, you would not know because technology wasn't the same. But now technology is the same. Technology is there, right? Ain't nothing but like, hey, here's the version of the hymn we're gonna play. You know what I'm saying? And here's what we're gonna do. Like, you can't show up and play whatever chords you want to play, and I can show up. Like, it don't work like that, bruh.
That's right. That's right. There has to be cohesion. There has to be cohesion, and that's so great. And I'm so glad you're talking about this. And for everyone that's watching, share this post, like this post. And I'm talking to Robert Randolph. We are sharing our experiences. We're also just sharing about our late brother, Derrick Campbell. What's your favorite story, or what's your favorite moment with Derrick?
Man, I got boy. Hey,
so many, right?
I got so many of them, man. I got a good one, man. This is funny. We recorded, and this just actually speaks to how close the Campbell family is, and we all praying for them, right?
Yeah.
This just speaks to how close those guys are and how they was raised, right?
Okay.
So this was maybe about 8-9 years ago, right? We recorded the Sly Brothers record, right?
Right.
So we recorded the Sly Brothers record, right? So, all right. So now the record company's like, oh man, it's great, man. We really like this, man. All of the steels together, so-and-so. So, now we got a tour booked, right? The agents and everybody book a tour, label, man. So we get to the show, man. We get to California and Calvin called me and say, hey man, something's up, man. So it's like, well, what happened, man? Because it's supposed to be, it was me, Calvin, Gent, and Derrick and Chuck, right? Mm-hmm. And actually, I was just going to play the rhythm, right? Because I was like, all right, no, I'm featuring you guys. You guys are out there, So me, Calvin, so we all sitting there. So we all get to the hotel. So I'm like, what's going on, man? And the promoter said, hey, man, so I don't see Derrick. And so Calvin said, man, Derrick ain't showing up. Like, what happened, man? So next thing you know, they're going, bruh, Derrick can't show up because mom told him don't come without Phil.
So
I did like this. I said, what? I called Derrick on the phone. I said, Derrick, you so and 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 so. What in the world? He said, he was like, hey man, hey, he be calling me Randy. He's like, hey Randy, hey look man, Randy, look man. Mom said I can't come, man, without Chuck and Phil, man, and so. I did like that. I said, you know what? I totally understand, man. Don't even worry about it. I know how y'all was raised. Yeah, I get it. Sorry, man. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then we get to the gig, man, and the promoter's pissed off. Like, what kind of Sly Brothers it is? You're missing two of the other guys. I said. And the record label called and they say, hey, it's supposed to be the record release show, man. But I said, where's Derrick and Chuck? I said,
right.
Don't even worry about it. I said, mom said he can't come. They said, you serious? I said, yes. When mom says don't, you can't.
You can't come.
Hey,
you can't come.
Boy, brother, their mom said, you ain't splitting up the Campbell brothers for no amount of shows. Nope. I did like this. I said, well, I hear you, mom. I get it. Listen, I get it,
man. But
that's that's how close those guys was, man.
And you know what? That speaks to their musicianship. It speaks to the respect they have for their mom and their family. But man, you are so right.
Man, listen.
You're so right.
It's just listen, I told Chuck and them that story the other day, and Dee Dee and all them, man, made them laugh.
I know they felt
they was like, because I ain't even never really talked about it until then, man, because I just said, wow.
Yeah.
Because we all know, hey, that's why when they show up, unless somebody ain't there, right, they're going to play together. Which rightfully so, I mean, it speaks to the point of what we were talking about before. It's like, they practice together. They got a crew, right? That, they have a camaraderie in a sense of, we don't have to guess. We don't have to, because actually when you think about it, if you have the crew there and we all know what we're going to do, we don't need to play mismatch today, right? You're trying to have a good church service, right? Yeah. You want to hear some good music.
That's right. Bottom line.
That's the bottom line. So listen, we all know, like, we practice and we wanted to play and we get there to see. It's natural, right? All of that stuff is not. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, those guys, they practice together. They all gonna play the same chords and changes together.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
They were locked. They were locked, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was Derrick and Phil. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was Derrick and Chuck together. It was just it just they locked.
And you know what's crazy, man? You would, but before you hear Derrick and before you knew about him, right? At whatever age, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going all the way back to when we were still in Rochester. But I remember we showed up to it was the Bishop's anniversary. Okay. And Derrick is playing, and we like, hey man, why Chuck ain't playing in Rochester? Man, why Derrick playing? That's a whole nother story, but but so Derrick is playing, and we thinking like, man, what kind of junk is this, man? We don't want to hear no Derrick, man. And you sitting there and you listening to Derrick, and like there's wow, this dude has the same right? The same professionalism. He knows everything about music.
Yep.
The tone. He practiced on his tuning, his gear, everything, right?
Derrick was
that's the bar. People don't understand. Like, that's the bar that the Campbells, Glenn Lee, right? They set the bar, right? And I was telling somebody, I said, now how in the world, that's literally 30 something years ago. Now how, when somebody sets a bar from 30 years ago, you go backwards.
Right. You can't.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't. You cannot.
And like, so, yeah, so those guys set the bar. Like, you're not even supposed to go backwards like that, right? Yeah. And when you think about it, right, you got, you know, when you see cats like, you know, all of the young cats, like, listen, Carlton has the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. The Bennett boys, Lonnie Bennett, all have the same quality. See, they all came up together, so they only know one way. Right. You know what I'm saying? I even feel out of place when I'm around them because, like, they only know one way, and it's always the right way.
Right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
And like, that's just that. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like you, like Anthony. When Anthony Harmon used to show up with us, but we looking at this cat like, man, this dude dressed, his bass is clean, man. He tuned up, you know, and he got his tuner, and he take it out all nice, and you know, he don't never go like, hey, give me your E. Nah, he got the tuner, and he tuning, bro.
And that, you know what, and that shows the musicianship of the people that we grew up under. I mean, we learned all these things. We learned the craft. We watched them. We took their tunings, made them our own.
Yeah, man.
We took some of their tunings and adjusted it and made our own tunings. I literally, the reason why I tune right now to like a C6 is because of Derrick.
Wow, yeah, exactly.
Your guitar is set up the way it's set up is Chuck.
Yeah.
And the reality is that they set a foundation for us that we still are learning from and beaming from now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what happens is, man, look, in all reality, we were blessed to really have, and I tell people all the time, right? First of all, like, right, the reality of it is the house of God is only really special because of the steel guitar God gave to the church.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
It's only special because of the steel guitar that God gave to that church. He didn't give it to no other church. You understand? He didn't give it to Kojic. He didn't give it to AME. He didn't give it to this one. He didn't give it to that one.
He gave it to us.
He gave it to us.
He gave it to us.
And these guys that we've watched and our great-grandparents watch and grandparents watch and all of that, right? They set the Zep. Don't forget, these guys have played hundreds of hours of revivals. Travel hundreds of thousands of miles across building up an organization with the steel guitar. Where else you going to go to a church service that somebody jamming for 3 hours? Guess what? You ain't going to go to one.
You ain't going to go to one.
You might go to a 3-hour service. You might go to Hezekiah Walker Church and he gonna preach for an hour and a half.
Right.
Right. But where else you gonna go to a church where
you're getting predominantly music,
where black folks in all of the ghettos of America, right, are playing 3-hour services of steel jamming, folks shouting, spitting, and hollering, and getting saved, and all that kind of stuff, right? So we were blessed to have all of these different guys. Like, I tell a story. It's like people say things like, oh, you know, you got, you know, hey, Muddy Waters. I say, listen, man, we got our own Muddy Waters, man. We had Lorenzo Harrison. We got, you know, Ted and Calvin and Henry. And like, people don't understand, man, those were some bad dudes back then. You know what I'm saying? Those dudes like Calvin wasn't nothing to be playing with.
I'm still studying their stuff.
Listen.
Still listening to the old stuff.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you one thing about Calvin. You could study all you want, man, but man, that Joker man was relentless.
I was just talking about his. He really was. I was just talking about him. They had an appreciation before this whole lockdown. I think at the end of last year, and like Calvin has one of the most like straight left hands, like as far as bar placement.
Oh, ain't it?
Like it's just solid. Like you don't. Hands down, Calvin has the best left hand I've ever seen.
Listen, Hey, and it's crazy, man, because Calvin will be watching me. And he'll just keep like, straighten out your bar, straighten out your left hand. And I'll be like, man, I've been playing like this forever, man. What you talking about? Get your hand off me. But you watch him, and he just smoothly playing the guitar, smoothly guiding around the thing, right? And you sitting there, and you just like, what? But people don't understand, man. This was some relentless Calvin style. I mean, that's really the first rock and roll steel, man. You know what I mean? I mean, like, you like, what in the world?
Demonstrate. Go ahead and demonstrate.
Man, let me see, man. Man, you got to be warm, boy, to do that. I got to change my tuning. I got to change my... Hey, people don't understand, man. People don't understand, man. When that crap was happening, boy, you crying, you can't help but move, man. When that crap was going on, you know. Right. And so,
Edwin, you're right. Bishop Dillard, we remember Bishop Dillard too. Bishop Dillard.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. It's so many people that played that we not even discussing.
Yeah.
Right? It's so many people, man. I mean, you can go on and on and on.
Days.
I mean, that's why I went back and said that's why the church is special, man. You know.
Yeah.
And when you and when they put together, and this is not even really talking about them, right? Because it is what it is. But it's like when you throw away something that God gifted to the church and what built the church, right? And now, which has been recognized. Don't forget, the Smithsonian is the most credible source in the world, the Smithsonian Institute, right? So when the Smithsonian researched and put the House of God music, steel guitar, in the Black African American Museum of History, you understand?
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And you know, the thing started, you know, I mean, they started doing their research probably about in 2004. The girl, you know, was I was telling her my stories, and I'm like, listen, to be honest with you, you need to go talk to Ted and Calvin and let them find some other old people like who can tell you the more deep history. But like, this thing goes way beyond me. It's just something that's been going on, and this ain't in no country nowhere. You know what I'm saying? No. This is in Detroit, Chicago, Newark, New Jersey, Brooklyn, Harlem,
cities everywhere across the U.S.
Yeah, like I used to tell people, I'm like, people used to say, like when we first started playing, they like, well, man, where you get that? I was like, Henry Nelson, where you live at? Brooklyn.
How?
Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn. My man in Brooklyn down there with Biggie and man and Jigga. The Marcy Projects.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But that's just speaks to the whole gift that God gave all of us. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason that we're here. Yeah. You know? So, you know, I tell people, listen, treat it as it is, you know, and practice, prepare yourselves and do all that, right? Yeah, and you know what's crazy, man? You know what's crazy? Like, you forget, like, every once in a while, we just have, you fall into those bad tendencies. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so crazy. I'm so not that disciplined. Like, if I get around Carlton or Derek Bennett or one of those, dudes will be like, hey, man, you got to tune that thing, man. Tune it up, man. I'm like, I thought I was it. Nah, man. What you doing there? Right. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That you can't listen.
You know? Like, and here's what's crazy. Like, I could easily be like, man, you shut up. You don't know what you're doing. Right. But we didn't grow up like that.
But exactly. And the thing about it is we're not unapproachable. We're not so hardy that we can't listen to somebody give us, you know, when I go down, I remember the last time I was at Fort Lauderdale church, talking to Lester Wilkes, and I grew up on these guys. Oh, it looks like I lost Robert again. I grew up with these guys, and if it wasn't for them laying the foundation for me to be able to play, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff and have the discipline that I have as a musician, and be around other musicians internationally, nationally known. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. Let me see if I can get him back on here. I don't know what happened to him. Where you at, Rob? I hope his phone didn't give out on him. But anyway, it is incredible to just to hear even Robert speak about a lot of the things that we've gone through as musicians, and we're in our 40s, you know. Here we go. We're in our 40s, and the things that we've seen, the things that we've gone through, the stuff that we experienced as young musicians. I mean, we had to listen. We had to listen. We had to be disciplined enough to listen to somebody tell us, look, you know, do it that way, do it that way. I remember playing with Glenn, and Glenn was such a stickler of when a song is when somebody just strikes out, you know, they don't do that anymore. They used to just strike out with songs, you know, the to be like right on it. So God is a good God. Yeah, see, I mean, they just want you to just lock, you know. Yeah,
exactly.
Even now, and like you said, your point, you know, as you know, tuning your guitar, listening to some advice somebody's trying to give you, listen. Even if it's to somebody that you think is not credible, listen. You may learn something.
Bruh, you'd be surprised how many people, like people don't know. I used to call everybody, right, from Andy Mims to Buddy Boy to Leo Nelson, Big Leo Nelson to Anthony Fox, you know, Lynn Lee, all of these cats. You know what I'm saying?
And our phone bills were ridiculous.
Remember that, bro?
Oh my gosh! Right.
And used to call
me so much, man.
Yeah, I know them jokers used to hate calling you, man. I mean, I knew you used to hate me calling you. Everybody did, man.
But no, it was cool. It was just like, but our phone bills, we don't have the kind of plans we have now.
Nah. You ain't got no unlimited calls,
unlimited, man. Right. We needed that back then.
Bruh, you know, right. Yeah, that's what people don't know. It's so much easier to be better now than it was back then. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I don't think guys realize we learned mostly through listening. We were in the moment. We used tape, like, you know, with me at times, I didn't do it all the time, but I would, you know, tape record or find somebody who tape recorded the service.
Yeah.
Tapes like crazy. Bruh. We were popping tapes left.
Bruh, we popped tapes, the videotapes, the cassette tapes,
the VHS.
Bruh. Hey, and you say, play it over the phone. Let me record that while you play it over the phone.
And we holding it over.
Hey, and then you call somebody, you messing with them, and you like, hey man, hey, I got that gold tape, bro. I got that one from '92. Like
the
what?
All-Star lineup. Yep.
Like what? You got Ronnie and Rob from Cleveland '92.
You got that?
What? You got that, bruh? Hey, you be like, man, let me get me a buddy pass. I'm on my way down there.
No, you trying to do an even trade. Oh, I got.
Like, yo,
I got Chunk and Calvin together.
Hey, right.
You try to do an even exchange, you know.
Bruh, let me tell you something. I got some bad tapes to this day, bruh. Dude. I got some ones. I tell you what, there was a tape of Glenn Lee when he had the what's that? The blue blue MSA.
Was it MSA?
Yeah, the blue MSA.
Okay.
That blue one.
Okay.
Bruh, listen.
Glenn, there was no joke.
Hey man, that joker was playing Down at the Cross. Down at the Cross. I mean, he was doing so many daggone chords, and I'm like, but what kind of night? What's going on here, man?
Glenn, people don't know, Glenn really actually went to school and got trained in E9. Like he really went to school and got trained on E9, the E9 tuning.
Yeah.
And then he came back and changed. his guitar, people don't realize the top neck when he played his double neck, it was actually an E9. It was standard.
Yeah. No, I knew that. I knew that.
Y'all, he was playing what the country guys in Nashville at that time, as they call standard C6 and E9, he was playing their tune in the House of God Church and killing it.
Exactly.
And I saw nobody
Not like that.
doing it. It made me go study.
I remember, man. Remember we used to come over. We used to come over your house, and you had that back room back there. You had the steel back there, and you like, man, look at, I got this Glenn Lee thing, man. And you know what's crazy? Because us up north, man, we wasn't into Glenn Lee at first, man.
I didn't get Glenn like we got him, yeah.
Nah. We ain't know nothing about Glenn, man. And I remember you and like all the matter of fact, remember you? We used to argue all the time. We would be like, "Who better, Glenn or Chuck? Glenn or Chuck?" Like, shut up, man. You don't know nothing. You be like, Glenn. You be like, man, Glenn no more chords, and I be like, Chuck no more chords, man. What are you talking about, right?
Yep,
bro. That was the beauty.
That was so funny though, is the respect that Glenn had for Chuck.
Yeah.
Glenn, like if you were to talk to Glenn would tell you like all day. Like Glenn would show me tapes that he had of Chuck that I'd never seen.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was looking like, what? Chuck was playing a 6, and Glenn had a tape of Chuck playing a 6.
Oh, I got them tapes, bro.
Glenn had so much admiration, man, for him.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, see, those two was like, when our age group, we was watching those two trying to see, like, because those were the professors. I call those two the first actual real professors of the steel for the House of God Church. Yeah. Really, in any of that style of music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, of course, Ted, and he knew all of the different chord changes, and Ted never missed a change, right?
Never.
And Ted was relentless as well, right? Mm-hmm. But by time we got, and you heard Calvin and all that, but once it got to Chuck and Glenn, right, that's what set the bar to a whole nother place. Uh-oh, what's that there? That's it right there, boy. See, you know all that stuff.
Hey, listen, Ted was my dude.
I know he was.
And you know what? I think that was the thing even with Derrick. When Derrick played pedal steel, he sounded like Ted.
Yeah. Yo.
He sounded more like Ted than anybody.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. Because Derrick used to tell those stories about when he would go down, go up to Detroit, and all those times that he would learn from Ted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, Ted was just such a different player, man. It's like, there was this whole thing, man. I mean, to me, people don't understand, man. That was some beautiful music back then, man.
Dude, right?
I can listen, put one of those. People don't understand me. You can go and put one of those tapes on now, and you literally will have to sit down
and listen.
Go somewhere and shut up. Go somewhere, sit down, and shut up. You know what I'm saying?
For real. And
because like the whole thing, bruh.
And
you listen to Benedict.
You'll get something that you thought you knew.
All the time, bro. All the time, bro. All the time, bro. Like, it's all of those different jams, and it's a whole library. It's literally a whole history, And what has happened, right? Without not even really talking about nobody, it's just the truth. This regime that came over in the early 2000s and took over has really taken the whole history of the church down, right? Now, somebody may say it was God's sin or his heaven sin. I don't know about it. All I know is, imagine if you taken Michael Jordan out of the history of NBA basketball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There is
like, yeah, and it's like, and it's not even really
documentary.
Exactly.
Save it.
But like, to me, I feel, I feel for this younger sort of generation of guys that's playing now, because they really don't know what to do. They literally have no clues, and you trying to, even if you try to explain to them, it's kind of like you speak in Chinese, you speak in Mandarin, because the guys have no clue what the pocket is. They don't, and I kind of feel bad for them. They looking around, and people be asking, and it'd be some guy asking. I'll be like, man, you're 35 years old, man. What you doing asking about the pocket? Like we had to learn that when we was 12, man. Come on.
And you know what? And as you're saying that, it's really, and I'm so glad like you guys are tuned in. And if there are young musicians on here, please like take note. Like when we came up,
hey, hold on 1 minute, Doc.
Go ahead. I'm
gonna log off and come.
We had to learn hymns, you all. We had to know what it was to play a hymn. We had to know what it was to as they say, outline a hymn. That was important. This generation is just all about jamming. Y'all, I'm jammed out. As soon as somebody finishes a solo, that is not the time to just go in. Like, extend the song. If they're singing God is real and they, or I can feel them deep in my soul, and they stop singing, keep playing it. Somebody might get set free by listening to you play that melody about 3 or 4 more times instead of jamming. So, let me bring Robert back in here. I think we miss, and this is to Robert, to what you were just saying, Robert. I think sometimes we miss it when we go straight into the jam. I was saying that a lot of these guys, they're just all about the jam, Man, they go in, they want to pick like you, they want to do. They want to travel 55 miles per hour, and the speed limit is 30.
Bruh,
and it doesn't even call for that. Like, dude, y'all slow down. Like, and people want to hear music. People really want to hear, and I think that's the thing that I miss the most. Is I don't hear music. Like, people playing like a piano. Like, I could be in church with a piano and a drummer.
Yeah,
we gonna make music. Yeah.
Ain't that something?
We're gonna make music.
Well, hey, and that's one of the things, man. It's kind of like us. Listen, you only really the only really way to learn is you got to sit and watch. You could study all you can. You could read all the books and all of the theories. But when it comes to this kind of thing of playing together, knowing how to do it, once you've sat and watched it, right? Now it's trial and error. But you have to be willing to go through trial and error. You got to be willing to get yelled at and tapped on the shoulder. You know what I'm saying? If not, then you're never going to grow. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to grow. Listen, Calvin, Chucky, all of them cats, especially Calvin, because Calvin been around me the most, for the last 20 years. And Calvin, many times we take Calvin on tour and all that, and Calvin as used to say, Calvin come on the bus and say, man, you gonna have to clean that up. I'm like, man, what you talking about, man? Who you think you talking to? And then, and then you sit there, you be like, all right, okay, Calvin, I know what you mean, man. You see what I'm saying?
And you cleaned it up.
You got to clean it up, man. And then I know, because then, some time go by, and he go, boy, there you go right there now. Now we talking. You see what I'm saying? But like, listen, because they don't know no other way. They're not going to sit back and listen to it and watch you continue to fumble it. You know what I'm saying?
And they were the innovators. They're the ones who set the precedence for us.
Listen. Here's the bottom line. This is their style. You understand? This is their style. Their style. You know what I'm saying? So they know what their style is. Sounds like I had these long conversations with a couple of bishops, and they were talking about, they were like, just having some talk, and they were like, well, how do we get it right? I said, listen, you got to go ask those guys. This is their style. You don't tell them, oh, this don't sound like the house of God. They created the sound. Hello. Not you.
Hello.
You understand?
Hello.
Calvin, Henry, Ted, Chucky, all of those dudes. It's their sound. You understand?
I mean, when you hear that, I don't care where you at. I don't care. You.
Hey, it's only.
I mean, when you hear that, you already know.
It only came from one place. You know what I'm saying? It only come from one place. It ain't come from nowhere else, right? And many times, like I hear now that, you know, and this is for some of y'all that's still going to the church and all that kind of stuff. You know, hey, listen, that's great. Go ahead if y'all want to go. But listen, whenever somebody tells you, when they break out into the slow jam and they tell you, oh, we can't play the slow jam, Bishop, you say, go kick rocks. The church was built on this. It was built on this. Listen, this is not about you. The music is for the service. You don't like the slow jam? Guess what? Go to the bathroom. Go get some soup and C&C sodas in the back.
Have a seat.
Go have a seat. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the church was built on this. You understand? Hundreds, and 100 years.
Let me say something. Let me say something to that point. Outside of everything that I've seen, and you and I both know that more of the slow style came out of the Jewel Dominion. Okay, let's just talk about it. The reality is that outside of the music, we were the only thing. Even when the church split before we were born, okay, you and I were even thought of. Yeah. I mean, the church split like 3 ways.
Yeah,
it didn't matter. The music still carried out. Okay, you, me, Dale Grace, Footy, Ronnie, Jarius, all these guys that we know in the Jewel Dominion. You know what's interesting is that we were able to come together as musicians more than the church actually came together. And I don't really think the church really understands that we come together more as musicians than the church comes together as an organization.
But check this out. Here's my thing is, my thing is, like I say, listen, they've made a 20-year mistake, right? By eliminating what's going on, right? The only goal is, how do you get the thing right? How do we get it right? That's what I told him. I said, just get it right now. It doesn't matter. You already raced 20 years. You got guys that grew up from age 0 to 20 that don't know nothing about how great Calvin, Chucky, Ted, and the history, and Dave Watson, and all these other dudes, Dow Brunt. Like, they don't know. They haven't seen the offsprings of that. You understand? They haven't seen that. You and Anthony Harmon and your dad. All of these dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that you've completely just erased and wonder why, when you look around, like,
the way it is.
What's happening? It's happening because you stepped in to what God built here. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, like I told you, you're not going to find this nowhere else. It's nowhere else. It's the only place you're going to come. When you go to a house of God church, you're only looking for one thing. You're trying to jam for 2.5, 3 hours. Guess what? That's the only church you're going to do that at.
That's right. And get it clean and raw.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if they went and announced, you start getting the old crews together, and Dave Watson and Calvin and Chuck and Phil and them and me and you and Dave Fiber and all these other cats, right? Listen.
Everybody named Mama be
listen. Bottom line is, listen. Here's what I'm going to say. Bottom line is, it's going to be some good music. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be good music that somebody could sit and learn from. I would sit and learn from those guys, even right now. Yeah. You understand? I would sit and learn from those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I ain't never even seen Ronnie Jarius' dad play in person. Like, I'm dying for that, because that dude is the most precise dude in the history of playing steel guitar, man.
Understand, Rob? You don't even understand what you're missing.
Like, bro, I already know from the tape, man. I'm like,
you don't even understand what you. I mean, you listen to Jarius. But to hear Ronnie?
I mean, I listen. No, I hear Ronnie on tapes, right? I hear Ronnie on the tape, but I want to be there. See, I ain't never been there, and I already know.
It's an experience.
It's an experience. That's what Calvin and them.
You gonna get saved all over again.
Hey, that's That's actually what Derrick used to always talk about that. Calvin still talk about. Calvin say, man, let me tell you something. Calvin say, man, when Ronnie played that guitar, bro, he said, man, you can't help but come out the aisle, and come out your pew and get in the aisle. And I already know from the tape, man, because it's like this dude, man. Do this dude even make a mistake, man? Like this dude be like, whoa, come on, he'd be like, hey.
All you do is just,
hey. And what's crazy is the hardest thing in the world is to really just be that simple and that precise. You know what I'm saying? So on the money.
All the time. All the time.
That's what I'm saying. All the time. And here's what I'm saying. Like, he learned that from Lorenzo, right? He's carried that on to all of the younger guys, right? And it is what it is, right? So it's like, you can't erase that, man. This is some great... Listen, the stuff is so great. Whenever somebody hear it from all around the world, they all have the same reaction. They go, what church is that from? You understand?
Right. And that's what we end up talking about.
Bro, it's like, ain't nothing you could do, man. That's what we
end up talking about.
Bro,
where can I go hear it? If I'm playing I'm playing somewhere in Alabama, I got to point them to a church in Alabama. If I'm in Kentucky, or if I'm in South Carolina, I got to take them to a church that's somewhere near so that they can go visit. And this is the stuff we get.
Bruh.
But this is how rich the music is. You're right, man. And this is everywhere.
Bottom line is, like I say, my message to all of the younger guys and, you know, and some of the people that's still playing, it's like, listen, man, you got to be willing to be good. You got to be willing to be tapped on the shoulder, because guess what? Yeah. We all play something wrong. Like,
we all do.
Listen, I can go to church and play tomorrow, right? I'm going to play something wrong. We all do every service. Ted has. Yeah. Chucky used to get yelled at by his granddad constantly, right? Yep. Bishop Campbell yelled at them in the middle of a church. I got the tapes. We all been yelled. How great they are. You talking about somebody would say, well, how in the world, especially when Chucky was 20, 30, and 40, like, come on, man. Like, this dude get looked at. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and Bishop Campbell tapped him on it. He get tapped out for Derrick.
All the time. All the time.
You know?
And you know what? And I think a lot of people don't realize that we got it. We didn't get it so much from a lot of the church members, because they were applauding. Oh, man, y'all jam. Y'all sound good. But when we got home, man, you sounded horrible.
You sounded, boy.
Man, don't you ever get up
boy.
And we have to take it.
Boy.
We have to take it, man.
Hey, listen. I call our service in Orange, New Jersey, boy. It used to be like boot camp, because Big Leo Nelson.